Hello everybody. The big question right now is Ethereum done dumping, and is it actually starting to make a move up? So is it going to really be finished actually plummeting down? Well, I think so, and we're going to discuss that right now with you today. Now, if you haven't already, do subscribe, drop a comment below, and hit the bell and get the latest news in cryptocurrency news. Alright, now, looking at Ethereum's sitting at today at around 3,260 bucks. Is no secret that Ethereum's actually been plummeting down for the past couple of days. But it did hit rock bottom, and thank God that it did do this now, as it's starting to actually make a climb back towards the top. Now, sitting when it finally did crash, it was hit about $3,000, which is, I mean, that's typical of what's going to happen. But it's starting to move up due to the volume. So when we're looking at the volume, actually really lowered down, and when it's lowering down, as long as it's not actually the price is skyrocketing up as the volume goes down, it shows that it's actually starting to stabilize, and that's a really, really good sign, considering everything that we have. When we have a lot of volume going on and the price is still going up, it really shows that it's going to be a little volatile. It's going to potentially reverse and come down. Looking at the previous times where you have like this head and shoulders going on right here, that was a big signal for us that it was going to kind of start eventually working its way down. And it did, and it come back and it did retest right here on the halfway through December. And it did give us that, and it started to break through out of the wedge, and everybody started getting excited towards the end. But now where we're sitting now, it is kind of coming back up. It's January, and we said this just a few days ago, that it is going to take about a week or so for it to actually start moving up, and this is what it's showing us. You can see from the 14th, right, like 3-4 days ago, it started to kind of change. We started seeing that power really being shifted back to the buyers, and that's where we're kind of sitting at now. The fact that it's actually starting to go up now, we do have these candles where we do have some uncertainty kind of going on, but it is buying into where it dipped out at, and that's where we want to see. Now, given that we do have this little ugly candle going on now, but it does have the potential to still continue to go up. So don't let this come back to you. If you see red candles, it's not bad, as long as the size is relative. Right, so as long as this the selling going on is not like out of the ordinary, you can expect it to actually move up. So a little bit of retracement is not so bad, and this is where we're kind of seeing with Ethereum is a little bit of retracement going on, and that's fine, and that's cool, and because it can only go down a little bit to go back up. So I would expect it to hit around. I would expect it to hit around 3,500 here in the next week or two, giving the patterns that we have now, giving that we did have the selling kind of going on and starting to reverse back in. Now, we do want to see that volume coming up and the buyers buying into it. We definitely want to see that as well as still kind of fighting off the sellers. So I think we have at least another good week of going up, a week or two, before we start seeing a really big, any kind of worrisome retracements coming on. Now, speaking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is kind of been that thing now where everybody's like really freaking out, especially if you're a big time Bitcoin holder. Bitcoin is sitting today around 42,000. Now, we spoke way back in October, November area that, hey, it's going to fall, it's going to hit 50K, it's going to hit, 50, 55. Well, we're sitting at 42, and it does have the potential to come back up too, but I think we're still going to go back down a little bit further, retesting this support line. And so I think we're going to hit the support line one more time before we really kind of come back up too much. Now, everybody wants to see Bitcoin, of course, hit 100K, but it does have the more, so it can go back up to 60 given in the summer months and this time, because when we look at the further back here, we hit this again back in September of 21st, right? So the September it went down, but then it shot back up. Now, if we're going back, if we're speaking about like last year back in the summer months, right, we had that same kind of pattern, especially like in May. It kind of like moved sideways. And if we're speaking even further down, like more like January, we had that sideways action going on too. And it was up until February that it started to really climb back up and start making those moves. And that's where we had, and even coming back further down the line, the year before that, it's all around the same. Especially in July, that's really when it kicks up. We've discussed that as well. So let's see. January, you can see that kind of movement, right, coming in from January, like towards the January, it started moving that sideways action. Like it went up, it pumped back up some, it continued to move sideways, right, kind of moving into that range, and then it moved back up and it started pumping around in February. But however, in March it did plummet back down to around 48,000. So it's nothing new. from this. This is like 2 years ago. So, but these are the typical patterns that Bitcoin give off, and so this is not something that everybody should really be panicking on, because panic selling is exactly what's really kind of destroying the market right now. But you know, it is going to correct itself and move back up, I believe, to at least minimum of 50,000. If we just really a minimum of 50,000, probably by March, you know, I would expect it to go. But it's just going to move a little bit sideways, given the history of the patterns. It's going to move that way a little bit more, and then to the sides. Don't expect it just to completely just take off a bull. And if you guys have been in the game long enough, you exactly know what's happening. You've been there. You've experienced this roller coaster quite enough. Now, coming into Matic, right? Matic's been in the news. It's pretty big. It's starting to jump up as well. I think it's going to even climb even further up, giving the patterns to it. So it's really starting to shift that power as well. And the volume is pretty healthy as well. So pretty natural volume going on. And that's where we want to see as well. So coming in, I think we're going to expect to see some bigger gains coming in. Today it's sitting at 2.38. It is kind of in the minus a little bit for the daily, but not too horribly. It is going to move up as well, probably about the same. Given towards February as well, I would expect it to reach around 260, 270. Just giving the fact, and you can see like these patterns here, right? This is pretty big, and it did signify a reversal as well. And since we came down, we kind of retested that at $1.96. That's where everybody's really panicking, and it takes a few days, honestly, to really kind of get any kind of an idea for a pattern. If you start trading like daily, it's going to really set you up for a big heartache, given everything. So if you're just looking at it just for the daily, and you see this, because things happen every day, especially in crypto. So it shows to me that it's really going to move up, especially if you give yourself like a 3-day warning. It's the best conservative way before you like freak out and you really miss the bull, right? So if you panic sell because you think, oh my god, it's going to drop, it's going to hit the bottom, then you're probably going to miss out. Of course it's going to drop. It's crypto, so we know how that's going. But Matic is going to move forward. It's definitely going to go up, and I see that here at least in 3 days. You're going to see that too. Those 3 days, you're going to see it at least jump up. Probably going to break around 240, 245 here in the next 2 or 3 days. I would expect that minimally. So it's definitely not going to go any further down. If we're speaking about Solana too, Solana's kind of struggling out as well. It's kind of moving into that range area as well, kind of fighting off. The volume definitely dramatically dropped. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does show signs that it is going to move up as well, and I think it's going to actually fight off this from the 17th, right? So it's going to start fighting it off a little bit further on. So do I think it's going to be like a huge thing? Not really. Solana is moving up, but I know like everybody's like really freaking out that it started dropping down. But it looks to me like it's going to move up a little bit furthermore. Definitely going to recover from the past couple of days, minimally too. You're going to see everything kind of change in the next 3 or 4 days in the plus side. So that's a good thing. If we're going to go over the market right now, so the Bitcoin is down by 0.92 for the daily, and it's up by 2.12% for the weekly. Ethereum's up by almost 3.5 for the weekly as well. Cardano's up by 31.79, still hanging at $1.50, right? Not the greatest, but everybody that loves Cardano is definitely holding on to that. They really see that. So 12.15% for the daily, 31 for the weekly. Solana's up by 0.73 and it's down by 4, almost 5, so 4.73 for the daily as well. XRP is up by 264. We have Terra Luna up by double digits, 16 and 14% for the weekly, down by 5% for the week. Polkadot is up by 7.79 for the weekly. So everything on the weekly charts are doing really, really well, which gives a good positive outlook of where it's going to go forward. And of course, daily, it's a coin toss, but for the weekly, it is actually looking pretty good for all across the board. Even Matic sitting at 11.93% for the weekly, 1.71 for the daily. Fantastic. Near Protocol's up by double digits as well, 33.79% for the weekly. Fantastic. Terra, US dollars, down a little bit. Uniswap's actually up for the weekly as well. So all of these are really, really going up. Phantom is up for the week by 32%. Fantastic. Absolutely killing it. Sitting at $3.18. Dude, this is perfect. So you can see that it's not everything is so dark, dim, and grim, but it can. Everything does show signs that it's starting to move up, especially recovering. As the closer we get to February and March, you're going to see all of these coins really start picking up. Even Bitcoin's going to pick back up, so we'll see that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Do subscribe, drop a comment below, hit the bell, and I will see you guys next time.